Welcome to Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil, the official Monster Jam podcast. I'm Scott Jordan. My guest this week is coming off his rookie season on Arena Championship Series West, and he gets to drive a 12,000-pound Triceratops for a living. Let's fire up the Zenny Optical Hotline, go to the middle of nowhere, Colorado, and welcome in Jurassic Attack driver Tim Hall Jr. Tim, welcome to the show, man. Great to finally get you on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for bringing me on the show. I've been dreaming of coming on this thing since you guys started it.
And you and I got to chat a little bit in person at the summit back in November. So the steps were already being made, and now we climbed them. Now you're here, but let's talk about where you're at, because you're obviously in a hauler. You're on the road somewhere. Where are you coming from? Where are you headed to?
Yeah, we just got done with Austin, Texas at the Moody Center, and now me and Devin Winfield, we're bringing our trailers up to Denver, Colorado. We got a speedway show, an independent show, and we're making our way there slowly. We've had some rig issues, and not something we normally have, but we're getting there.
Right. Well, let's add some context to that for all of our viewers and those of you listening. Tim and I were texting back and forth yesterday, and he was mentioning to me that the rig kept breaking down, and now Devin's rig is breaking down. So you're in this together. And yeah. I think if Adam Enticknap were here, he might have to tell Mike to reevaluate his equipment to get you to the show. But what's going on with the rig, man? Because your truck this season was so reliable and right there. So talk about what's going on here with the rig to get you there.
Things happen, I guess. It's an off week. You know, normally we don't have really any issues with rigs, but I guess this week both my rig and Devin's rig decided to have air issues where the brakes don't want to work right and coolant's leaking, and oh well, that's in the past. We're all good now, yeah. So we're good. We're good for the next summer tour.
You'll get to Denver, man. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure you get there. I'll stay in touch with you. Let's talk about your upbringing, man. Cadillac, Michigan. Not a town that if you showed a U.S. map, people could probably point out. But I did an article on you after you won Fargo, and I did some extensive research on the town of Cadillac. There are some notable folks. There's a former football player, an actor from an old sitcom, and an actress from Cheers that attended school or were born in Cadillac. But you, my friend, are a famous professional athlete, and I think it's time we really start getting a water tower with your name on it. So I don't know who I have to contact, but how does a kid from Cadillac, Michigan end up driving Monster Jam trucks?
Oh, man. It's this wild, crazy dream that I've dreamed since I was a kid. My dad and my mom, Tim Tara Hall, they worked with Dan Evans with the Destroyer monster truck in the early 2000s. And so ever since I was a little kid, I was around the monster trucks and Monster Jam, and it's just what I always dreamed of, and never gave up on it. And, you know, my parents always believed in it too, and just always wrenched as a little kid. And I was a Monster Jam super fan, and, you know, put a lot of hard work in for the last few years and made that dream come true.
How important was the support of your parents in this process for you? Because as kids, when you have big dreams, not everybody supports that, and I think there are some parents out there that want their kids to do something a little more practical. But how big of a deal was that for you to be able to pursue this and follow it?
It was crazy. There's a lot of times I thought about giving up on it, and you know, my parents, they never gave up on me and knew I could do it. And you know, it's just in your blood. You know, you just gotta have it. And ever since I was a kid, I was obsessed with it. I had all the Monster Jam toys as a kid, and wanted to learn everything I could about Monster Jam. I used to know all the trucks, all the drivers. And as I got older, I wanted to learn how to work on them. And, you know, as I was growing up, I learned how to work on mud trucks, started driving mud trucks when I was 10 years old. And so I really got to give a big thanks to my dad, because he kind of really paved the path for me, I feel like, and really made me who I am today.
If you watched as a kid, obviously you were a fan of Jurassic Attack, because that is a historic truck. So give you all the feels of being a little kid again, being able to drive this thing?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. You know, Jurassic Attack, that was one that honestly, I've even talked about this a few times. I was not the biggest fan of it as a kid. I didn't like dinosaurs that much. But now that I got older and I drive Jurassic Attack and see how many kids love dinosaurs and that truck, it made me love that truck, seeing how happy it makes other kids.
I think there's a new movie coming out, so maybe we should just have you wheel Jurassic Attack out in the latest trailer and just destroy the crazy Raptors that are going nuts on the island. Coming up next, more with Tim Hall Jr., Jurassic Attack. That's next on Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. Welcome back to Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. This week, I am joined by Jurassic Attack driver Tim Hall Jr. We talked a little bit about Cadillac, Michigan, and again, the campaign is on. So anybody that is watching from Cadillac, if you are the mayor, a city councilwoman, and you have a walk of fame, a wall of fame, a wall of honor, a water tower, the campaign to start. This is the home of Tim Hall Jr. begins right here, right now. I'm calling you tomorrow, and we're going to make it happen. Let's talk about the journey to Team Throttle Monster from Cadillac. So obviously you had Monster Jam experience prior to this. So let's talk about your road to Ogden, Utah, where you live now.
Yeah, like like you said, I had some Monster Jam experience. Started in the fall of 2017 with Monster Jam crewed for a whole bunch of different trucks, but mostly Morgan Kane with his Gravedigger. Did the 2018, 2019 season of Monster Jam. Then 2020 and 2021 didn't do anything. And actually, it was David Olford that kept blowing up my phone asking if I wanted a job and to get back on the road. And so I got Mike Christensen's number, and we kept going back and forth. And I couldn't decide if I wanted to go back on the road or just stay home and do the home life. And joining Team Throttle Monster was one of the best decisions I've ever done in my life, because they fulfilled my dreams to the fullest. I mean, you can't get no better than driving a 12,000-pound Monster Jam truck, a Jurassic Attack monster truck at Monster Jam. So, my dreams came true, and it was kind of a wild, crazy journey, and made it happen. Now we're here.
When you started with Monster Jam as a technician, you worked with Morgan Kane. And you and I have similar paths, because I started late in 2016, so I was there 2017, 2018, and I toured with Morgan. He was my one of my first broadcast partners on NBC. Great guy, still keep in touch with him. What was it like from your standpoint? Because I don't know Morgan like that. I don't know the wrenching side of Morgan Kane. I know Morgan as a friend and an announcer, but what was that like working for him?
Morgan is probably one of the nicest and most genuine person I've ever met. And working with him and Parker Hatcher, he was, the crew chief for Morgan, and I learned so much from the both of them, because Morgan, he wasn't just a driver. He also knew how to work on the trucks. He started as an independent when he started doing monster trucks. So just absorbing and learning as much as I could from him, especially like then I was a 21-year-old kid, still learning how to live life and learn how to work on monster trucks then. And I've learned so much from him. I talked to him a little bit here and there, but not as much as I should. And, watching Morgan drive was, another thing I watched and studied a lot. Like I tried to take as much information as I could from him and studying him drive. And I think I applied some of that to my driving style.
I admire Morgan, because Morgan stepped away in his prime at the top of his game to spend more time with his family, and he's doing that. So I do admire that. But let's also now shift gears to Team Throttle Monster. You get there as an experienced technician. How long was the process for you to crew on these trucks before you got an opportunity to drive for them?
Yeah, so the 2022 season, crewed for David Olford with Jurassic Attack and Travis Mowry with Rockwell Red. And we had a great season, learned a bunch from both of them. I mean, both are really, really smart when it comes to working on the trucks, and great drivers. And then going into the 2023 season of Monster Jam, Too Tall, he went into Velociraptor, and then we had Bailey Shea with Monster Mutt Dalmatian. So did two Monster Jam seasons of crewing, and that 2023 season, we knew that we were going to expand to 8 trucks, and, there's going to be 2 seats available. And I was hungry for one of those seats, and I kept hounding Mike that I wanted a chance, and I think he believed in me and knew I probably could do it, and they gave me the chance to drive, and it went well. And 2.5 weeks later, we built a brand new truck, threw the Jurassic Attack body on it, and I've been driving Jurassic Attack since.
And I mean, the nostalgia for that truck, not just from me as a fan or from you as a fan, but worldwide. This is a truck. Don Frankish started in the business. It disappeared from Monster Jam for over a decade. It comes back to huge fanfare, and you see these kids show up every single event, and you're this larger-than-life personality because you drive a dinosaur. And you may not be, these kids may not be a Monster Jam fan. They may be coming to the first show, but a lot of kids love dinosaurs and they see this big metallic one that you're behind the wheel of. So what is that like to represent such a nostalgic truck, such a big part of Monster Jam history, but also a truck that kids recognize as being one of their favorites?
You know, it's awesome. It's crazy to drive an iconic truck like that and to be, you know, I'm up there with, I feel like, being a fan favorite truck. Seeing how excited it makes so many kids. Like I said, I didn't even realize how many kids love dinosaurs until they're coming through the pit party line with their Jurassic merch on and their Jurassic Attack toy and talking about how much they love dinosaurs and monster truck and monster trucks and how perfect it is that we combine the two.
I love that, man. I love the enthusiasm from you, man. You're a good dude. You're a great driver. And again, I'm very jealous you get to drive a dinosaur for a living. Coming up next, more with Tim Hall Jr. right here on Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. We are back with more Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. I'm Scott Jordan. This week, I'm joined by Tim Hall Jr. Arena Championship Series West for you. You capped off a phenomenal rookie season. You finished 5th in the points. You had to go up against what I call an albatross in Weston Anderson, who just continues to win series after series. Devin Winfield, your teammate, has the season of a lifetime. Cody Saucier, Brianna Mahan, so some incredible names. Ashley Sanford, another one, and even your teammates. It was the Team Throttle Monster Series. Talk about lining up against these drivers every week in series champions, in future Hall of Famers, in the Princess of Carnage, former Rookies of the Years. You guys had everything on this series. What was that like for you as a driver to just line up against these phenomenal athletes?
Yeah, when I found out what the schedule was and who all was going to be on our tour, I was sweating. I was sweating. I was like, man, this is going to be a tough season. And, you know, it was also a dream come true as a season. Like, ever since I started crewing on the trucks, you know, Weston Anderson was getting a little bit older. He was doing more crazy stuff with the mega trucks and then started driving the monster trucks. And I knew that I was going to drive one day. And I said that, like, Weston Anderson is somebody I want to compete against. And lucky enough, you know, my first season with Monster Jam, I got to compete against him. And I don't know if I would say lucky, because he whooped us pretty good. He kept winning all the time. So that was kind of frustrating. But, you know, it was kind of an honor to, you know, get to run with him and Cody. You know, I got to work with Cody, you know, in the Florida shop for a couple years, and, you know, getting to compete with Cody, that was a dream come true. And, you know, the whole Team Throttle Master, you know, did great this year. And even Devin, you know, I don't know where it came from, Devin, but he pulled it out this year and did very well.
Yeah, that's right. You were down here in the Florida shop. See, if you were still here, you could just be sitting right next to me instead of in your rig in the middle of nowhere, Colorado. Yeah, Devin's season, just phenomenal. And I love the fact that you said you don't know where it came from, because, I mean, he went from, I think, 7th or 8th in his rookie season to finishing 2nd on a very highly competitive series. But your teammates with him, he's been around the sport for a long time. I've talked about his story on this show. What was it like to be there with him and support him during this incredible sophomore rise for Devin?
You know what? You know, I'm super proud of him. And he also makes me angry all the time. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Me and him, we butt heads all the time. So I was proud of him to see how well he did, but at the same time, it just ticked me off seeing him in 2nd. That was one of my biggest goals. Was I was like, I want to be above Devin this year.
Well,
well, he turned that around and he beat me.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, you are way past where he was his rookie season. You know, he finished down the bottom. You're right there in the middle of the pack. Yeah. So maybe your jump is next year. We did the schedule of the World Final Selection Show. We did that live on YouTube, which you folks, if you haven't seen it, you can still watch it. But great way to bring the World Finals lineup to our fans. Salt Lake City, July 4th weekend. You were announced as an alternate in the Skills Challenge. What would that moment mean to you when you found out that you will possibly have an opportunity to compete on the biggest stage of them all?
Man, I don't even know what I would think or how to even feel. I'm still haven't processed it. You know, I watched that live while we were going up and down the road, me and Berto. And, you know, when you said that, I was, you know, a backup for two-wheel skills. I didn't even understand what that meant at the time. Like, it took us 5-10 minutes of process of, like, what does that even mean? Like, how is this going to work? And called Mike Christensen and talked to him about it. And, you know, I'm just super just proud and honored that, everyone at Monster Jam, all the fans like acknowledged that I had a pretty good year with my two wheel skills, because I took a lot of pride in trying to make every attempt that I made a solid hit. And I also had quite a few pretty cool two wheel skills moves. So if I get the chance to go on that big track, on the big floor there at the biggest stage at World Finals, I can't wait. Hopefully got my little brother in my headset counting down the timer with whatever stop or whatever crazy move I might be able to do.
Well, fans can watch some of your skills attempts on Racer Network here on Arena 30, powered by Spin Master, which I've had the pleasure of calling some of those runs this year. And you really have grown a lot in that competition. Has it just been seat time for you to start elevating you to where you're literally at the top or near the top of that leaderboard almost every single weekend?
Seat time for sure. And, coming into the season, I was only driving for a year. So my first year driving, I just wanted to prove to everyone that I can just control a truck, I can drive. And then this year, I wanted to turn it up an extra notch. I already proved that I can control the truck and do everything I need to do. Now I want to let it all hang loose. And I think I proved that a lot. I had a lot of broken horns on that dinosaur this year.
Well, with this format, you may get the opportunity to compete in the skills competition because it is a 2-day format. Everything is split up a little bit. So we may see one of these drivers competing in 3 competitions that may be unable to go, that wants to, save the truck for racing or freestyle, and that maybe need a motor swap or something more serious as well. So you may get not much notice here. You could get a call maybe 10 minutes before the competition starts saying, Tim, suit up. I don't know how you would feel, man, but I would be a nervous wreck. I'd be sweating through my fire suit. If that call comes and you are about to drive Jurassic Attack out onto the track at World Finals, being streamed live in front of millions of people, what are you feeling? How is that going to make you feel?
When you put it like that, it makes me a little bit more nervous.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to put that kind of pressure on you.
Obviously I'm going to be nervous. But I think once I drive on that floor, I'm pretty confident I can clear my mind. I'll have my little brother, Travis Hall, on the headset, coaching me through it too. And I'm just ready. I just want to go out there. It'll suck for that person if someone misses it, but I hope someone can't make it to the floor, and I want to take their spot. I want my chance on that track.
You were up for Rookie of the Year against Montana and Triton Robbins. I had them on the show last week. They're very confident in what they've done and their abilities to walk away from Salt Lake City with that award. You are a 28-year-old rookie who has a lot of experience in Monster Jam. So what are your thoughts on Rookie of the Year, and do you think you've done enough to win it?
Man, I hope so. That's one of that was my biggest goal this year. I really wanted that. I was trying to do everything I could in my power to try to get that win this year. It would mean a lot. I didn't do great in racing this year, but I had a lot of really good two-wheel skills and a lot of really good freestyles. So we'll see what happens. I just hit my 2-year mark with driving monster trucks, and even if I don't win it, there's many other awards down that I can get years down the road.
And if you don't win it, you can take solace in the fact you had a better rookie season than Devin Winfield did last year. So we can
for sure.
Go with that. Coming up next, your fan questions for Tim Hall Jr. That is next on Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil. Welcome back to Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil, the official Monster Jam podcast. I'm joined this week by Jurassic Attack driver Tim Hall Jr. It is time for your questions. You take over the show. You can get your questions in each week by following me on Instagram at ScottJordanMJSX. Tim, let's see. The city of Cadillac is asking, do you want Junior spelled out on the water tower or just abbreviated? So that's a last-minute question that came through.
Man, you might as well just spell it out, make it big.
All right. Monster Jam King 29. We saw you driving the purple Jurassic Attack body earlier this year. Could we see the OG brown one make a Monster Jam appearance in the future? That is a great question from a very nostalgic Monster Jam fan, and I would have to want to ask that question as well.
I hope so. I mean, the purple one was awesome to get the round. I actually got, my first overall with that purple body. So we'll see. I don't think we'll ever run the old school purple body we have, the airbrushed one. Hopefully, maybe down the road we might wrap, an old school looking one. But we'll see. I've been talking to Mike. I would like to see some different colors, some old school ones come back too.
Do you just have random Jurassic Attack bodies floating around the Team Throttle Monster garage?
Well, there is a graveyard of some Jurassic Attack bodies, and then we also have the old school brown, the purple, and the light blue one. So yeah, we have some of the old school ones.
I'm gonna have to make a trip out there. Mike's been inviting me to come take a tour. I want to see this graveyard. All right, this is one of the best Instagram handles I've ever seen. The only monster truck Canucker who not only gets a question but also will get a follow from me because that's a great name. How was it piloting Jurassic Attack last year in Edmonton with the history of that truck being started in Alberta? So any nostalgia for you bringing Jurassic Attack back to where it all began?
Yeah, that was crazy. I didn't even like put two and two together until I got there, and I was told about that. And then once I was there, and bringing Jurassic Attack back where it was from, that was cool. That was just a cool moment. I mean, and a kind of an unexpected one. I didn't even realize that. Didn't put two and two together.
Well, now you know. Anytime you go to Alberta, Canada, it's like a Jurassic Attack shrine haven there for the truck. Last question for you. Andy_Lakeski says, what has been the highlight of your first full Monster Jam season? So any particular moments stand out to you?
Yeah, you know what? I actually have two moments. My first one was Fresno. Got to compete in front of Dennis Anderson. He was there watching his son Weston. So we were all stoked to drive in front of Dennis. So we all were running super hard. And then my second one was Columbus, getting to run in front of my family, my mom, my dad, and my little sister Taylor. That was the first time that they got to see me drive at Monster Jam. So those two moments this year, I'll never forget.
And also, I think Fargo Dome would have to be a highlight, right? Because that's a huge floor, and you went in there and just clean house, man.
Yeah, Fargo for sure. There's the whole year there was so many highlight moments. I could talk about it for the next hour.
All right, Tim, absolute pleasure. I appreciate your time. The campaign to get your name on the water tower begins as soon as we sign off here on Racer Network, man. So great catching up with you, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Tim Hall Jr., Jurassic Attack. You can see him in the middle of nowhere, Colorado, near you. That is all the time we have. I will see you right here next week on another brand new edition of Inside Monster Jam, powered by Lucas Oil.